morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, if you're liking my content, please hit that thumbs up button. That just helps with my engagement. Also, subscribe. It's free. You just help me help you get these videos out. Hey, tell your friends. Tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell them folks you can't stand that I am over here making these videos for you. All right, we are here. We are finally here. It has been 6 weeks because remember they gave us the first 3 episodes in one fell swoop. So it's been 6 weeks since we started this journey. Didn't know we was going to like this journey as we're on it, but it's been wonderful. I have enjoyed immensely this dramatic iteration of the old comedy sitcom, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So let's get into this quickly on this recap, and then we'll get into some in-depth stuff. So, we may go out. I'm trying not to make this video very long. So, to recap, let's go over. It starts off at Unvi's function at the governor's ball. She has accepted the fellowship, so she is in full swing of this. They are taking pictures. She's got all this great food. They have her artwork on display, so she's in full mode. She's meeting and greeting with her friends. Uncle Phil is looking on. He's looking so lovingly, and he is looking on. As he looks that way, he sees Will standing in front of a portrait. He goes over to Will, and apparently it is a painting that Viv did of Will. And if I can find it and get a good clear shot of it, I'm going to put it here too. But it is a beautiful portrait where you have Will. It's a portrait of Will, but he's like deconstructed in different pieces, and then he has this crown on his head. It's a beautiful portrait. Uncle Phil comes over and gives his take about what he thinks that portrait means. Will tells Uncle Phil that he is very appreciative of him being there and that he has been a father figure to him, and he appreciates it. So then it pans to they walk off. Then excuse me. Will sees Lisa. He goes over to talk to Lisa. Lisa's still up in her behind about, you lied to me. I gave you every opportunity to tell the truth and you didn't. And, Will tries to explain it. She doesn't want to hear it. She stomps off. Jazz comes over there and he's like, she's still mad? Will is like, yeah, she's still mad. So Jazz lets him know that maybe you saying I'm sorry is not the words that she needs to hear. He says, if you're serious about getting back with her, you're going to have to figure out what you need to tell her. And, Will is like, well, I don't want to mess up. He says, like, you can only do what you can. He says, I get curved all the time. He says, but at least you tried. If she doesn't want to come around, then she doesn't want to come around. But at least you tried, and then you have enough time to move on. Makes sense. Real quickly, we get over to Ashley and Carlton. They're looking at the same picture that Uncle Phil and Will looked at. Carlton says, he looks at it and you could tell he's feeling some kind of way, but he's like, well, I don't understand why she put the crown on there. And Ashley turns to him. He said, because you should have watched The Throne. You should have watched out for the throne better. It was something like that. But Carlton got it. So, that was basically it. Now we're just going to talk real quickly about Hillary, Ivy, and Jazz. Hillary and Ivy come in. Ivy is impressed of the people and contacts that Hillary has. And she's explaining to Hillary that this is her vibe. This is the type of people that she has been curating her whole page to be like. And that between them, they would be like a dynamic duo in getting this content and stuff out. Hillary agrees. Jazz comes up, introduces himself, and Ivy looked at Jazz, child, like she looked at Jazz like she would just lick his soul if she could. That's how she was looking at him. And Hillary kind of caught on to that. But earlier, before Jazz got there, Hillary and Ivy were talking about that kill clause with Kylo. And Hillary is not done with Kylo yet. They're trying to figure out, Ivy and Hillary are trying to figure out ways to, at that point, they're brainstorming about how to do that with Kylo. Vivian walks up on them. They quickly clam up. Hillary lies and says they're talking about her personal life, which they weren't. And then that's when Jazz came up. There was nothing, Uncle Phil met with his fat brothers and basically reiterated the fact that he was going to be working with his family or still being with his family. Let's see. Let's go back. Yeah. So the scene goes on. It's the next morning. We see Hillary and Jazz in her bungalow, honey, all laid up, looking like they done had a wonderful, wonderful night. But she has on this champagne pink lingerie pajama set. Gorgeous. And I will say, this young lady ain't no hate. You appreciate everything that they have put Coco Jones in. Gorgeous. All throughout this whole season, everything that she has worn has been gorgeous. It fits her perfectly. She has a great shape. Gorgeous child, just straight gorgeous. But her and Jazz are in the bed, canoodling, and then Will calls. Child, first he calls Hillary's phone. Hillary doesn't answer, so then he calls Jazz's phone, and Jazz answers. And Will tells him, "Hey, I know y'all together, but I need to talk to Hillary." He asks Hillary about what should he do about Lisa. So Hillary gives Will the advice that he needs. As we move on, Uncle Phil and Carlton are up. Uncle Phil basically tells Carlton, "Hey, I made some connections that we could probably drive a car on the Grand Prix track. And if that's something that you can do," he asks, "Is Will going to do it?" And he's like, "No, this is just something me and you are going to do." So Carlton is really, really craving that attention from his father, that one-on-one attention from his father. And I know he feels that he gives Will the one-on-one attention, but he craves that attention as well. And I think Uncle Phil sensed that. This is why he had done this, so that him and Carlton will have time. So Carlton is ecstatic. So he goes off to practice. Will is in his room trying to figure out how to get in contact with Lisa. He's paging her. He's doing all kinds of things. Well, she answers his text and says, "If you want to talk, meet me at this cafe at like 3:40 or whatever time it was." So Will says, "Cool." Will gets ready. He goes off. Let me make sure that I got this right. Carlton goes downstairs. Will is fixing eggs. Cheesy eggs. For him and Ashley. He asked Carlton, does he want him to fix him some? Carlton's like, "Nah, I'm trying to eat healthy." He goes into the refrigerator. There's nothing to prepare to eat. There's no food, no groceries have been shopped for. And so they're like, "Well, dog, ain't no grocery shop for. Where is Jeffrey?" And Carlton says, I think Ashley said, "Well, where's Jeffrey?" Carlton said that he's on vacation. Will says, "No, Uncle Phil said she had a family emergency." And then Ashley says, "See, don't nobody know nothing. That's why I went to check his room, and all of his stuff is gone. His stuff is gone." So they're realizing that Jeffrey is not there. And he's like, "Well, why would Jeffrey leave? Jeffrey just wouldn't leave without saying anything." And then Will kind of puts two to two together and realizes that he may have left because I asked him to find out about my father. I didn't open the information, but I gave it to Uncle Phil, and Uncle Phil didn't seem to be happy about the fact that Jeffrey helped me with this information. So they're like, "You think Uncle Phil fired him?" And they all come to the consensus of yes. So Will is upset about that. And poor little Ashley, she's just like a little ping ponger. She's just, oh, they're not telling her anything. That's kind of bothering me. And I know that she is a certain age, but I really, really do think that they need to start telling her stuff and not let her find out stuff, because I think next season she's going to find out something she don't really want to know, child. She don't really want to know. We then get to Aunt Viv and old light skin Reed the Sneed, Reed the creep, or whatever we want to call Reed. But baby, he asked Viv a straight question. Does your husband know that we're working together? She says, well, we have kind of overcome, and he agrees that I want to be able to help somebody, and I need for you with your contacts and all those things to be able to help with getting new artists, young and upcoming artists to be able to get their craft out. So they agree that they were going to do that, but Reed is a little she's a challenge for him, and I believe he's going to try it. I promise next season, I believe he's going to try Vivian. I believe that they're going to come up on something intimate, not sexual, and Vivian is going to be pregnant, and she ain't going to know who the baby daddy is. Well, Philip is going to be concerned about who the baby daddy is. I think I talked about that text, but if I didn't, Will is trying to get in contact with Lisa. He texts her, and she texted him back and said that hey, you can meet me at the hotel. I mean, at a cafe. So Will goes off to basketball practice, and as he is leaving out of the gate, a car pulls him right behind him and pulls into the gate. And I don't know why Will wouldn't have seen this car do that, because don't know many cars come into the gate. So anyway, Uncle Phil's like, Carlton, hurry up. We got to get up out of here. We got to get to the track. The doorbell rings, and who is it? Losing house, hey, losing house. We meet Lou. Will's father's Lou is in Bel Air. So now, the mystery of Lou is solved. There was some predictions earlier about that Will Smith was supposed to play Lou, and baby, to my surprise and pleasantly so, it was Marlon Wayans. You hear me? And I looked and I was like, yeah, Jabari and Marlon Wayans and the Aunt Vi, the lady who plays Aunt Vi. Yeah, I could see that their mixing of their genes would make a little Will. Boy, he comes in the house with his indignance. Uncle Phil is stunned. He is absolutely stunned, because he was looking out the window, at the door behind him, like, dang, did Will see him come in? Did Will know him? Did Will come in to see him? But Uncle Phil is absolutely stunned about Lou being there. And Lou, like I said, he's all indignant and happy and whatnot. Not happy, but smirky. Like, yeah, I'm here. Your little British man came by and told me that my son needs me, so I'm here. And Uncle Phil is like, nah, he don't really need you. If you were so interested in your son, you would have gotten in contact with him 3 years ago. So all in all, I was like, oh, 3 years? Wait a minute, what happened 3 years ago? Then we find out Lou has been in jail. And he did a 10-year stint in jail, and he was released 3 years ago. So when Will was 14, his father was released from prison, and his father from that time to this time hasn't gotten in contact with Will. The only reason why he was there is because Jeffrey pinned it to him that Will needed him, and he needed to come and talk to Will and everything like that. So Uncle Phil and Lou go back and forth about their past and everything that's going on, and we find out that Lou robbed and beat a man and almost beat him to death. So like I said, we find out what's really going on with old Lou. So Lou has been in jail, and they all decided as a group, as a family, not to tell Will that he was in jail, just basically saying that he left. So Lou comes back and he wants to see his son. Jeffrey has told him that his son needs him. He wants to see his son. He's changed. He wants to be a good father. And you start to see what Uncle Phil said about Lou being unpredictable and volatile. Because Uncle Phil tells, we start to see this now. Uncle Phil tells Lou that he needs time to tell Will that he's there. And that he needs to talk it over with Vivian because they're his guardians and they need time to talk over what they're going to do with Will while he's, let Will know that his father is in Bel Air. So then it pans to, now at this moment too, I need for you all to understand that Carlton is upstairs and he comes out on the landing and he sees Lou. He sees him. He figures out who he is. And then it pans to Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. Uncle Phil tells Aunt Viv that he's there. And they were talking about what decisions to make. And so she's like, well, I need to call Vi. Vi needs to know what's going on. She calls Vi, tells Vi what's going on. Vi is freaking clean out as she should. She gets upset with Vivian. She said, because we should have told him. If I had told him, this would have never happened. He wouldn't have had Jeffrey, look for the child. She is just in that point crying. Viv is upset. They're crying too. Then it pans to Carlton. Carlton is in the office. And like I said in the last episode, Uncle Phil, why are you not locking your office? I just don't understand that. You're an attorney. You got all the important papers and paperworks and things and stuff like that. Lock that door. Anyway, Carlton goes in and he's just in a fervor. He's looking for any information about Lou. And then he finds the packet of information. You could tell that he's just struggling about whether or not to open it. He inevitably does. He opens it. Will comes home. He goes upstairs. He tells Will that his father has been there. Will questions him. Carlton gives him the packet of information. He reads through the packet of information. He goes downstairs to Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil. He sees that they're talking about him. He's upset. He's telling them nobody's giving him a straight answer. Y'all are just lying. Why is it so difficult for y'all to give me a straight answer? They go back and forth and back and forth. And then Will decides that he wants to meet his father. So Uncle Phil sets that up. Lou comes back. Will decides that he wants to meet with his father one-on-one. But before then, honey, the funniest scene to me, maybe Aunt Viv got into her mommy mode. She told Lou, listen, Phil went upstairs to go get Will. When Will comes down here, you need to make sure that you tell him how much you loved him and adored him and how you missed him and how you wanted to get in contact with him and how you thought about him. He should feel like when you leave here that you were damn father of the year. And she says, and if you don't, she says, I'm going to kick you out my damn self. And he's like, ooh, that little West Philly coming at you. She said, you're damn right. I said, all right, Aunt Viv, you him hum with old light skin, but baby, you put your mama bear panties on and you was going off on old Lou, which was rightly so. Will and Lou sit down and they talk. Again, you can see that that unpredictableness because he's talking to Will and trying to make his situation like he was the victim. He was the victim. And Will was just basically coming at him. She was like, I was doing all this stuff to take care of you. So he says, but he tells him his story about his parents and stuff. And he was like, so why is that why you beat this man halfway to death? And he was like, he kind of stopped. So then Will asked him, well, what happened between you and my mom? And he was like, well, if you want to know the truth, she was the reason why I did all of that because she got jealous of Vivian and Phil making all this money and she wanted me to make money and hustle. And as long as I was bringing the money and hustling and stuff, she was fine. He says, she kept nagging me and all this other stuff. And he was like, he said something, I could never please that woman. It was something that he said that triggered Will. He was like, wait a minute, you don't get to talk about my mama like that. And he was like, you don't understand and stuff like that. And I don't think he cussed or called her a bitch or anything, but he said something in a way that Will got upset. Like, you're not going to talk about my mama. And then Lou got up and then you see the volatile part of Lou. Like, boy, you better get that bass out your throat. Who you think you talking to? He's like, you're not going to talk to my mom. You're not going to sit up here and blame anything on my mom. You made the decisions for yourself. Baby, let me tell you something. This was that one time I wish that I could get through that screen, pick up one of them lamps, and bust old Lou upside the head, because he took that baby and he grabbed that baby by the throat. You hear me? He grabbed Will by the throat, and honey, I just wish I could go through that thing and grab a lamp and just bust him in his head. I was so upset. Like, you don't grab no child by the throat like that. You're supposed to be the parent. You're supposed to be the calm one. And that's where that volatile was coming through. Baby, they told Lou, Uncle Phil and Viv came in. Uncle Phil had drawn him like this. You let him go. He tries to calm down and everything like that. And he's like, I'm my father. He says, well, Lou tells Phil, not Phil, but Will. He's supposed to have these names that are the same. And plus I've had my coffee, y'all, so I'm just talking a mile a minute. Lou tells Will, well, you called for me to come here. And Will was like, yeah, but if I hadn't, would you have tried to contact me? And Lou went silent, honey. Honey, when he realized that, yeah, he said, that's what I thought. You didn't want to be bothered with me in the first place, so you need to leave. And so Lou tucked his tail between his legs and got up out of there. So Will goes upstairs. Carlton follows him in the room and comes in the room maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later and tells him, hey, Lou has left the building. What are we going to do? And you see Will packing his bags, child. Will is ready to go. He's like, wait a minute, you can't leave. He's like, nobody wants me. He says, my father doesn't want me. My mother shipped me off here. She doesn't want me. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv have lied to me. I just don't feel like I need to be anywhere. So he packs up his stuff. He goes downstairs. Everybody is trying to talk to him. And Aunt Viv is like, we can work through this. We can work through this like family. He's like, y'all are not my family. He says, I don't trust y'all. I don't have, y'all, everybody's been lying to me. I just feel like nobody loves me. Uncle Phil tried to say something. He wouldn't listen. Carlton went to him and kind of grabbed him to, please stay. Don't leave. Don't leave. But as he was grabbing him, he pushed his money clip into his pocket of his pants. Now, I don't know if Will saw him do that or not, but he was like, you can't go. Where are you going to go? He was like, I'm going to figure it out. But I bet you Will got up in that Lexus and left. He didn't walk out. He didn't leave out of there on no foot. I bet he got right up in that Lexus and ran up out of there. But that's what he did. A few hours later has passed. Nobody has found or had any information about Will. The car has, a low jack on it. They call the company to figure out where it is. Come to find out that since Jeffrey set up the account, he's the only person that can check on where that car is. So, and Viv is mad because she's like, we getting Jeffrey back. Because the kids tell Uncle Phil they know why Jeffrey's gone. And Vivian's like, we're going to get Jeffrey back. But right now, we need to find Phil. And I need to call Vi and tell her what's going on. So she has to have that conversation with Vi. Vi is upset. So it's at night. And if you remember from the first episode, you remember when Jazz picked up Will from the airport and he took him to that mountaintop wherever they were in LA, and he showed him the city, and he showed it to him in the daytime, and he told him, this city will make you forget where you come from. So now juxtapose that at the last episode, we end with that scene because Jazz finds Will there, and he tells him, you've got people that love you. You need to go home. Will's like, I don't think I have anybody that loves me. It goes back and forth, and Jazz, with that big brother energy, tells Will, yes, you do. You just need to figure out, you never forget where you come from, but you just need to figure out where you're going. And that's how the episode ends. But I will push back because prior to that, you remember that Will was supposed to meet Lisa in the cafe. Will doesn't show up. She's 95 hot, goes home. Carlton leaves to go find Will. He goes to Lisa's house. He asked her, was Will there? She was like, no, because he was supposed to meet me at the cafe. He explains to her what happened with the father and everything. And he confides to her that he's scared because he doesn't want Will to leave because, he feels like Will is a brother and he's scared that he might leave. Now they embrace. Now I couldn't figure out if Carlton was embracing her because he was really trying to figure out if he can get that old thing back or what. But Lisa agreed to help find Will. So then the incident with Jazz, and then the series ends. So we're gonna figure out whether or not that Will goes back to Bel Air. I assume he will. We're gonna figure it out or not. But all in all, the episode was good. The series is good. I can't wait to next season. It will be on my review list for next season when it comes back out. So, what are my pros and cons about this series and this episode? I will tell you this. When I first started watching this, for me, it was a con. I was like, I don't want to see a reboot. This doesn't make any sense to reboot a series like that. It doesn't make any sense. And then when they dropped those first 3 episodes and we had an opportunity to see that it's actually a drama, because I was thinking it was going to be like a dramedy. There was going to be a drama, but there was going to be all this comedy pushed through there. But I was pleasantly surprised that no, that's not what it is. It was strictly a drama. There may be some comedy elements in there, but it is strictly a drama, and they were able to flesh out all of these characters to the point where you were very concerned. You Uncle Phil and Viv felt like your auntie and uncle. The kids felt like your cousin and them. You were very invested in this family and what they were going through and what they were doing, even though they're in a whole income bracket that I don't know nothing about, but you're invested in them. I knew that I was going to like the Will character. Jabari plays him very I like how he playing him, and it's a plus for the fact that he is from Philly, so he brings that with him. So I'm very pleased with that character. I can tell you from the one character that I have grown to love, even though he has put me through a whole bunch of stuff, is Carlton. And shout out to that young brother who plays Carlton, because he is playing him. I am fully invested in what's going on with Carlton. I am fully invested. I am invested in him because he is the heir apparent, and that's a lot of pressure for him, but he doesn't know how to explain that that's a lot of pressure for him. I am invested in him because it is that they're talking about anxiety and how anxiety manifests itself within people. And I'm loving that he is playing that to a hilt. I am enjoying that. I enjoyed his tension with Will, and I enjoy the fact that they are now bonding as brothers. Absolutely enjoy that. He is playing that. Mwah, chef kiss. Jeffrey, he is intriguing because they make him to seem like he is a hitter. He a shooter, he a hitter, he's everything. He is that man that you can depend on to get stuff done. I also like the fact that his character was expanded to show that, he's a good guy. He makes you think about the things that you're doing. He's going to get stuff done. But he's also going to let you know if something is over the limit. And then this incident, stuff like this with Will and his father, he felt like it was over the limit. And there was some biases there because of the fact that he's not with his son. So we're going to see, and I think next season we're going to see some stuff with Jeffrey and his son. Now the characters, Uncle Phil. He's playing that role. His ruthlessness has come out. He's more ruthless than the old Uncle Phil, but he nonetheless, he is ruthless. But he is still doing it all because he loves his family. So you cannot knock him. You can't knock his hustle for that. I'm also liking how they have Hillary, that she's not the ditzy girl. She is on par with her generation. I am interested to see what's going on. I'm also interested in her relationship with Jazz because with Fresh Prince of Bel Air, she loved herself some Trevor. And I'm wondering, is Kylo going to be the Trevor entity, or what's going to happen? Don't know about that. The characters that I'm just kind of blah about is Aunt Viv. I think I do appreciate them showing the modern woman and how she has to navigate her family, her career, her wants and the desires, and the sacrifices that she makes. But she's a little wishy-washy for me. I'm not really invested in her as I am Carlton and Will and Hillary. And the same goes with Ashley. I think that they are missing a big opportunity with Ashley's character. I think that that character can be developed because I want to know what she does besides wanting to advocate for environmental causes and LGBTQ causes. I'm wondering, are we going to get to see Ashley and her friend group in school or whatever? Are we going to get to have really an episode dedicated to Ashley? I think that would be wonderful because I think that character needs to be fleshed out more. I would love to see Ashley's character fleshed out more as far as with her relationship with Jeffrey, because regardless, she's Jeffrey's favorite, and their bond is unmatched. And I really would love for her to be the catalyst for Jeffrey to come back. That she'll be the one to convince Jeffrey that it's in his best interest to come back. I think we've talked about everybody. Jazz. I like the fact that Jazz is not the person that the Uncle Phil is always throwing out. Now, Uncle Phil doesn't know that him and Hillary are having an affair. Are together. So when that bungalow bill, when that hotel bill comes through, Uncle Phil gonna find it out. So, but I like the fact that Jazz brings that big brother energy, like a mentor, big brother energy to Will. I am enjoying that. I think his character, I'm loving to see more the dimensions in his character. Again, overall, I have enjoyed this series. I have really, really enjoyed this series. I cannot wait to see what they do next season. If you have not watched my prediction video for next season, go check that out. Let you hear my predictions. Now, I will tell you one prediction that I will talk about this because, we were introduced to Lou today, and I had predicted that Lou was some kind of made man. I still stand by that. I believe that Lou had something to do with Rashad's death. I don't believe that Jeffrey had anything to do with it. I believe Lou had something to do with it. I believe Lou found out about Rashad. And I believe that because you remember they said that Rashad was beaten. Was he beaten to death or was he shot in the strip club? They found him dead in the strip club. So I believe he probably confronted Rashad about Will simply because he's been out for 3 years. So he would have known what was going on. Now that was my prediction. But the way he acted today makes me think that he probably didn't. He probably didn't care enough to do anything. And if he did kill Rashad, it was over some gambling. Because you remember how the show started, Will's ego got him on that field, on that basketball court, and he was trying to save what's his friend's name? Trey. And he shot the gun up in the air. So I'm thinking if he had anything to do with Rashad, it had nothing to do with Will, but more so because of he being unpredictable and volatile. So, y'all, that is it for this review on Bel Air. As I've said before in my other video, that I'm making some changes to my channel. I am picking up new shows, so let me go over them real quick so that you all will know and look out for them. I have picked up the Netflix show. It's a reality show called Young, Famous, and African. It intrigued me because it's going to be black folks from the continent, so I am curious as to what they bring to the reality show realm. So I'm curious to go see that. And I have reviewed them. I already have 2 episodes up, so check those 2 episodes out. I'm also reviewing Atlanta. So I will have that episode up probably the first episode, because the first episode came out and I think the second episode comes out on Friday. But I will have the first episode up on Friday, and then coming forward, they will be my Saturday uploads. And also what I'm going to be picking up and reviewing is Moon Knight. That is a Marvel show on Disney Plus. I am going to review that show as well. That will have a weekend, midweek or weekend upload as well. So these are the things that are changing on my channel. Like I said, I have thoroughly enjoyed this season of Bel Air. I look forward to the final season, which is season 2 next year. Now they may decide if there was enough people that have watched the show to extend it, but I do know that they have, I think so, they probably have like 20 episodes that they have been scheduled for. So I'm looking forward to that. Tell me what you all think about this episode. Did you all enjoy it? Was there anything significant about this episode that stood out to you or not? What did you feel about the iteration of Lou? How they have reimagined Lou? Tell me what you think about that. How do you feel about Aunt Viv and her fellowship and her interactions with Reed? How do you feel about Carlton and his need to have Will in the house? How do you feel about Hillary and her whole dynamic with Ivy and them trying to take over Kylo's house or whatever it is they're plotting to do? How do you feel about that? Let me know down in the comments. Again, hit that like button and subscribe. And you know what, people? I have enjoyed you all. Thank you so much for watching my videos. And I will see you soon. But as always, bye-bye.